What's your $1,000,000 idea that you wish someone else would make happen because it never will if left up to you? Car Gnomes. It's just an overnight mechanic service that picks up your car while you sleep, changes the oil and whatever else, then has it back in your driveway in time for you to go to work in the morning. Go home Elon. You are drunk. An app that lets you fall asleep on trains and buses. It's linked to GPS and it triggers an alarm when you're one stop, less than half a mile away. It would be so useful, for me at least. A gentleman's club chicken joint called Strip-In Chicks and Chicken Strips. A toilet with a scale in it to weigh your ass. Okay, it might not be $1,000,000 idea, but I'd buy it. A movie production studio tycoon game. You get to hire actors, writers, schmooze with producers, purchase props and build sets, let the film be recorded and edit the hilarious results. Once it's finished you release it and hope it doesn't bomb in the theaters. It'd be fun if there was time progression, too, so you start in the 1890s making silent films and work your way up to modern cinema. Have you ever bought fancy peanut butter? The kind where the oil separates and needs to be stirred. I would like to put 16 ounces of premium peanut butter in a 20-ounce jar so I could stir the effing S without splashing oil all outside the jar and on the counter. However, this will never ever work because of the assholes who complain about air in chip bags. Ha! What a ripoff. This jar isn't even full. How stupid do they think I am? Comfortable full-body VR. Soundproof wallpaper. An allergen indicator strip stick for food, so people with food allergies can double-check their food when eating out at restaurants. Windshield wipers. Wait for it. For glasses. A government department that specializes in streamlining other departments in order to cut down bureaucracy and improve efficiency. While they may attempt to save money, they also have the power to increase budgets if deemed appropriate, such as buying secondary monitors for staff or better printers. If you can find a way to cheaply extract potable water from the ocean, you'll probably become the richest man on Earth in the next few decades. A toilet plunger with a poop knife in the handle, like a cane sword. A connection among local food banks, homeless shelters, clothing giveaways, and other charity resources, one that could be accessed by the public and updated in real time. Example: Alice and her 3 kids are being abused by Alice's husband Bob and need to leave the house forever. Alice could get online, on a library computer with a burner email account, and go to the website. She could answer a few questions about her predicament, and be referred to the domestic violence shelter, so her and her kids could have food and shelter for the next few days. Her case would also be referred to legal aid, the church down the street doing clothing giveaways, the moving company that doesn't charge for victims of domestic violence, and an organization that gives grants to people looking to rent apartments without at first last month's rent. Then the domestic violence shelter could go on the website, and mark that they have 1 adult bed and 3 child beds occupied, and only have X remaining. Another example: Dave the heroin addict just got kicked out of his house. He'd go online, find a shelter for the next few days, and also get referrals to rehab and Suboxone. If he took those referrals, the rehab and the Suboxone clinic would reduce their availability by 1 patient. Years ago I convinced a stockbroker buddy of mine to buy as much Red Hat stock as possible on IPO. I didn't have the cash at the time, but I knew it would be big. He made way more selling it the day after the IPO than if he had waited 18 years when IBM bought it. I insisted he give me nothing for the information. Now I have an open invitation for me and my family to stay with him in the Caribbean anytime I want. A beer app. Ever go to a crowded bar and have to wait for the bartender to make 50 complicated drinks, and all you want is a beer? Well, there'd be an app hardware combo, scan a code or whatever, and the kiosk blinks. Bartender knows you want beer at B or C. Bartender brings it over, the tip is built in, and you get back to whatever you were doing. So, the bartender might like it because they'll get the tip of or more, and not even have to interact with anyone. I have it all written out with all the details and it seems to make sense. Don't wanna give away all my secrets, but I know I'll never develop it. I had $1 million idea once. A long time ago. It was a jump to conclusions mat. You see, there would be this mat that you would put on the floor. It would have different conclusions written on it that you could jump to. I never made it though because I'm not good at making physical things. Instead, I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. We all get laser guns to shoot at other cars when we're driving. You can light up other cars at will. Cops get notified when a car gets too hot or a repeat offender is in the area, but just a few people would never be able to affect anything by themselves or acting as small groups. Crowdsource to end type driving. It's not $1 million idea, it just feels that valuable to me. I would like to develop an app that can take any recipe that you take a picture of or find on the internet Reddit and convert it into a visual recipe for children who don't know how to read yet. For example, it'll take 2 teaspoons of butter and turn it into icons alongside the text spoon, spoon. I have a daughter who is autistic. She doesn't read very well and has a hard time understanding verbal language, but she understands pictures very well. Unfortunately, visual recipes are very hard to come by and cumbersome to make on your own. I hand draw the ones we use, but it would be really cool to have an app that did just that. I want a phone that gets nervous when I leave it behind and walk away from it, like a toddler. If you walk away from a toddler in a shopping mall, he'll get nervous and start going, "Mommy, Mommy." I want my phone to get that way if I leave it on a desk and walk away from it. I want it to get nervous and anxious and make a fuss. There are tons of apps that will help you find your phone once you lose it. How about something that will prevent you from losing it in the first place? Bow ties. A few time-use booty you put over your shoes and the lower part of your leg to disguise your own shoes while you're at work. They would look like other shoes, you know? They'd come in a 3-pack so you have more than one option per day and can S without worrying someone will notice the same shoes under the stall all day, and you don't need to lie about having IBS. Voice-controlled pet door. I would love nothing more than to be able to have a pet door that can open or close just by me shouting, "Alexa, let the dog out," so I don't have to get up and do it myself. I swear, every time I get comfy on the couch and get about 10 minutes into a show or movie, one of my dogs is standing by the back door wanting to be let out. Then, I have to do it all again 5 minutes later when they want in. My sister, who hates Alexa and Google Home devices and refuses to get one, says that when that comes out, and she can afford it, she'll finally break down and allow one in her house. Protein beer. Tap into that niche gym bro market by making them think it's okay to drink more because protein. I always thought there should be an insulated can bottle where you could crack a seal and then shake it so the liquid inside would become hot. It could be soup or coffee or tea. I know there's some instant heat products that use iron to oxygen like in hot hands and those heaters in MREs, but I've never seen what I'm thinking of. Edit. Just to clarify, there would an outside insulated container, then a thin layer full of some heating element that's activated by oxygen, then the final product in the middle that would be warmed heated. I think it's a neat idea, but it would also be fairly wasteful. Mobile fried chicken and biscuits place that is only open on Sundays outside of every damn Chick-fil-A. A cat bed built to fit over a Roomba. A effing accelerated reader app for adults. Normal people. I just want to read books and accumulate more points than my friends, yo. Large Lego blocks made out of recycled plastic, filled with insulation, for building real homes. A women's menstruation help store caller Ute, or us. Not necessarily a $1 million idea, but had a conversation about this at breakfast this morning. What happened to Tinder groups? In my experience, it was successful, fun, and felt safer to go out with friends and meet another group of friends. Someone make a new group dating app. A shower that once you feel you're clean enough, you press a button or something and it starts functioning like a fountain and recycling the water all the time you want, so you can relax in the shower under the hot water for long periods of time without wasting large amounts of water. A computer operating system or Windows skin for elderly people that completely simplifies using a computer. Condom dispenser that attaches to headboard and operates like a tissue dispenser. Grab one. As it releases from the rest of the string of condoms, it tears open the end, pushing the rubber into your hand. I call it rapid raincoat. A giant machine the size of an entire home kitchen, that replaces the kitchen entirely. It would be very expensive, marketed toward the rich, and is vertically integrated. It stores, cooks, plates food for you, and cleans the dishes. Only works with food bought through the company. You have to use the company's plates and silverware for compatibility reasons. So instead of having kitchen with a dishwasher, sink, stove, fridge, oven, microwave, etc., it's just this large monolithic chrome block with a touch screen. Food for it gets mailed to you weekly and you order the food through an app site. When the food arrives, you simply put it in the storage part of the giant block. You go to the touchscreen and select a dish, and because the food is packaged in a way relative to the giant device, the device pulls the food out of its fridge, cooks it in its oven, plates it, and spits the plate out at the end. You could have the big-ass machine built under the floor of your house and just have the screen, the plate dispenser, and the dirty dish silverware slot in a small device the size of one to a fridge, essentially freeing up a room in the house. Right, here in the out, soap, that floats, air bubble inside, costs less 'cause less soap, and easier to find when having bath. I honestly can't work out if I'm being clever or an absolute retard. I'm not telling you. I posted this as a comment a few days ago, but it's still valid. It's about a grocery app website. Here's my wishlist version of this site app. It is a segment-based site, where you can create a profile, and list some items, specific items, that you buy regularly. You can go to the site, and at any moment it will tell you, within a set radius, where you can pick up that item least expensively, and maybe also Amazon. It could probably be just grocery items. So, say, I could put in cans of Mountain Dew and it would search the stores around me, sales, calculate any discounts like Red Card or store savings clubs, and give me the best per can price, or per ounces even. So say Target has a 24-pack for $6.99, but Publix has an amazing buy one, get one for $3.99, obviously the Publix sale is the best that week. And in my personal dream world, it would also both send you alerts at certain price thresholds, as above, and allow you to enter your entire grocery list and show you which store is cheapest. Your order is 00 at Winn-Dixie and 30 at Publix. My dream app here is paid for by the stores, because they can see the items that are on everyone's list and use that to make sure they have those items in their store. I'm looking at you, Winn-Dixie, and your refusal to carry Rebel Creamery ice cream. 1. The ability to leave a restaurant without having to wait for the waiter, ask for the check, wait for them to get it, put my card down, wait for them to pick it up and process it and come back, sign, then leave. How about we set it up so that I can just get up and leave too? Laundry in like a half hour. Why do I have to block off like a half a day for this? It's 2020. Fix it. Girl jeans with decent size pockets. Dune buggies with mounted paintball guns and electronic power-ups so you can play real-life Mario Kart. My brother and I have about 75% of the tech done, and have run successful racing tests of that portion, but had to sell everything except the IP for personal financial reasons, mortgages, kids need to eat, etc. If be happy to license what we have to somebody else to finish it up. Actual useful AR. Some strides have been made for sure, but it is still pretty far off. I want a pair of glasses or an add-on that feeds information to me. Would also be cool to have some sort of navigation device, maybe a wearable of some sort. Some cool things I would like to see: quick image search, already being used on many smartphones, but still pretty far off. IMO, navigation obviously. SMS feed, hazard detection would be cool. About to bump into something, or something bump into you, flash of light to bring your attention to it, depending on the setting and AR device. HUDs. Site where you can upload a picture of your crush and it will scour the internet to find porn that looks like them. If it can't be found, it deepfakes it. No one make this. Make empty malls into mini cities. Large end stores, Sears, JCPenney and so on are made into housing. There can be clubs, pharmacies, food, restaurants, and whatever. Plenty of parking and space for living or socializing. Half-Life 3. Proving the Riemann hypothesis. A service that helps you find things on the internet. Not everybody is good to find a specific information, and I would assume people would pay to get helped. A streaming service where everything is playing at random points in the background. I recently got an antenna for my TV which picks up a handful of local channels on top of all kinds of random stuff like B-movies, Korean TV, a crime channel, the CW, and whatnot, and honestly, it's been great just putting it on, flipping through the channels and leaving it on something. I've watched so many movies and shows I never would have put on had I seen them on a catalog, but just so happened to catch a second, stop, and just park there because it piqued my interest. A lot of the frustration from online streaming services like Netflix, Prime, etc. is having to sit there and browse those menus endlessly before deciding to put something on. I think if there were some kind of system where you could hit a button and something would randomly come on, at a random point in the show or movie, then have the ability to change again to the next random program or movie, think channel, and then also have the ability for the program to start over from the beginning, it would be pretty successful. It's just something I've thought about since getting that antenna. Mittens. Basically a special set of mittens for couples, and number X200B, two separates, and a third sort of double mitten to hold hands inside. It's so nauseatingly low they couples can hold hands in winter, barf. A solar-powered box fan. Like one without a cord that you can take with you to a park or a sports game on a hot summer day. I've thought about creating a website based around this assumption. How many thinkers have ideas they'll never get to and how many doers are out of ideas? Biometric payment system. Pay at stores or online with your fingerprint. An enormous 3D printer that prints domed houses out of concrete that can then be covered in soil and plants, thus eliminating the need for roofing and siding. I was high when I came up with it and it's pretty bad, but I still think people would buy it. You know how cats like to go inside the blankets you use, then they end up leaving because it gets too hot and closed in for them? I want to design a blanket that has adjustable boning so that when your cat goes inside, you can adjust the boning to form a little cave for them. The blanket would also have tiny air holes. I call it the Blanciat. A machine that records your dreams and allows you to play it back like a movie in your head. I know the Japanese have been working on something similar, but I would just like to see it happen sometime in my lifetime because I have crazy dreams I would love to experience again. A good multiplayer Avatar: The Last Airbender game. Not really a $1 million idea, but I've always wanted to build accessible housing in my area, and sell or rent it for dirt cheap to families with disabilities who can't get mortgages, etc. So hard to find suitable homes with a restricted budget. Lottery win one day, fingers crossed. I have tons. An alarm clock that emails your boss that you'll be out sick if you hit snooze more than 5 times. An app that interfaces with your phone voice recognition that if starts ringing, if you call out "I'm coming," it will add 5-6 more rings before dropping to VM. A phone app where you can record tailored messages based on who calls you. You can set up a more formal one for work calls or unknown numbers. If your best friend Carl calls you, the message is, "Carl, I hate your guts, but that's not why I didn't pick up. That's because I'm busy with your mom at the moment." Don't leave a message. So many possibilities. Turning abandoned skyscrapers and other large buildings into giant urban hydroponic farms. It could be used to feed people or make biofuel, and transporting food from it to the city it is located in would be cheaper and cause less pollution. More people would have access to fresh food, there would be less pollution in transit, and the building would continue to be useful if it is structurally sound enough to be converted. Using hydroponics to grow food would also allow for growing food not typically possible in a given region. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to hear more of the best posts.